Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome to language lesson 146. We are going to begin with our oral language exercises. You're simply going to repeat after me. I like that kind of bicycle. I like those sorts of people. Why don't you sit down and rest? Just set the groceries down over there. Will you buy Sam and me an ice cream cone? I'd like to stop here just briefly to interject the rule for that particular sentence that we just covered. Whenever you have two subjects in a sentence and you're talking about yourself, you're including yourself, you are always going to place you, meaning the pronoun me or I, after the other subject. And if you were to remove the other subject from the sentence will still need to make sense. So in this case, you're asking someone to buy Sam and me an ice cream cone. If you remove Sam, you would be able to say, can you buy me an ice cream cone? But obviously, if you said, can you buy I an ice cream cone? That wouldn't make sense, would it? So just remember that rule, that whenever you remove the other subject from the sentence, it must still make sense. And hopefully that helps. Let's go ahead and continue with the last few sentences. Each of you is eligible for membership. Every one of the boys is coming with us. The rabbit has run into his hole. The cat has eaten all of her food. How many riders has the horse thrown? Okay, very good. All right, we are going to continue now to remember A, which was your homework from the previous lesson. I am going to ask that you direct your attention there. And you can go ahead and check your answers as I go along. Remember, this is an honor code system, and I know you have great integrity. So just go ahead and feel free to change the answers or correct the answers, because there is a quiz that's forthcoming, and we want you to do well. So remember A, you had to write in the correct answers. Number 1 said, nouns can be common or proper. Very good. Number 2, am and is are blank verbs. They are state of being verbs. Number 3, shall and will are what type of verbs? Helping verbs. Very good. Number 4, read and run are what type of verbs are read and run? In this case, they are action verbs. Very good. Number 5, many adverbs end with ly. Again, many adverbs end in ly. Number 6, the questions that an adjective answers are which one, what kind, how many, how much, and whose. I'm going to say that one more time. The questions that an adjective answers are which one, what kind, how many, how much, and whose. Number 7, the questions that an adverb answers are where, when, how often, and to what extent. Again, the questions that an adverb answers are where, when, how often, and to what extent. Number 8, the word in must have an object if it is a preposition. If it does not have one, then it is an adverb. And finally, number 9, the most common conjunctions are and, but, or, nor, for, and yet. Very good. We are going to now transition to our lesson for today. We are going to begin by reviewing prepositional phrases, and we are going to continue with a part of speech review, and then we will move forward to our thinking skills. Okay, so we are going to now identify the prepositional phrases in each sentence. The first sentence says, Adam walked with God in the cool of the day. All right, this sentence has actually more than one prepositional phrase. The first one being with God. Obviously, God would be the object in that particular case. And in the cool would be another prepositional phrase. And of the day would be the final prepositional phrase. So you had 3 in all in that first sentence. Now be careful with the next sentence. Elijah went up in a whirlwind. Now you should have noticed something. You're thinking to yourself, oh, this sentence has 2 prepositions. That is actually not the case. So we know that when we find 2 prepositions adjacent to each other, one actually serves as an adverb. We actually just covered that rule in the previous homework assignment. So in this particular case, in a whirlwind would be the prepositional phrase. In being the preposition and whirlwind being the object. Let's look at the next sentence together. Mother wrote a long letter to my Aunt Grace. We actually did that same sentence in our Google Meet, so you should recognize it. And we determined that to my Aunt Grace was the prepositional phrase and the object was Aunt Grace. The next sentence says, read the instructions for me again, please. Okay, so the prepositional phrase in this case would be for me. And finally, at recess, the 3 girls jumped rope and played dodgeball. What would the prepositional phrase be in this particular case? Yes, at recess. Very good. Okay, hopefully you're comfortable with first and foremost identifying your prepositions and obviously finding the objects. If not, continue to practice. Okay, perfect practice will produce good fruit. All right, let's go ahead and move on now to our parts of speech review. Okay, you're going to notice on this page that there are a few words that appear in green. I want you to identify what that part of speech is. So let's go ahead and move into the first sentence. It says, hooray, the battle is won. I heard some excitement there, hence why we have exclamation marks. And the green word in this case is hooray. You should have identified the fact that it started the sentence, so it is an interjection. Now, the next question would be, what type of interjection is it? It would actually be a strong interjection in this case, not only because of the punctuation mark that was used, but we also noticed that the word immediately following begins with a capital letter. The next sentence says, he bought a gift for his mother. In this case, for is in green, and that part of speech would be a preposition. You know that a preposition always has an object. The object would be mother. Very good. I like macaroni and cheese. We had a similar example previously. And I actually do like macaroni and cheese. How about you? Wow. And in this case, combined 2 separate words, and it's a conjunction because conjunctions join or connect either words, groups of words, or sentences. Let's look at the next one. At the cross, we can lay all our burdens down. Isn't that a beautiful and comforting thought? So true. Hopefully you're doing that in a season like this that's so unpredictable. This would be an adverb, the word down in this case. Notice that it does not have an object, so you're thinking to yourself, well, it's on my prepositional phrase list. Yes, but a preposition must be accompanied by an object. So remember, this is an adverb. He fell down and skinned his knee. He would be a pronoun. It's obviously taken the place of a noun. It doesn't have the exact name of the individual, but it replaces that person. So he would be a pronoun in this case. And finally, the last sentence, I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God unto salvation. Be careful in this sentence, because you're thinking to yourself, this could actually serve as a few different types of parts of speech. However, in this case, it serves as a conjunction because it combined or connected or joined two separate thoughts. So the two thoughts that it connected was, I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, with it is the power of God unto salvation. All right? So hopefully you're getting more comfortable with your parts of speech, and in the future it will be effortless for you to identify this. If you have any questions, be sure to reach out to Mrs. Best during your Google Meets or otherwise. Okay? All right, now I would like for us to move on to our thinking skills on page 224 and 225. Okay, so here we are on Think E, page 224. It says, many words have more than one meaning. The dictionary numbers the different meanings so that you can find them easily. Number 1, you're going to look up the italicized words in the sentences below and decide which definition of the word explains its meaning in the sentence. And finally, number 2, you're going to write the definition in the blank. So I'm just going to go over a couple of examples with you. It seems straightforward. You're simply going to identify the italicized word. In the case of number 1, it would be crowns. You are going to then look that definition up, and you're going to notice that it has more than one meaning. You are going to, based on how the word is used in the sentence, choose the definition that correlates with the context. I'm going to go over an example with you. So it says, a giant dome crowns the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. Now, we're used to hearing that word associated with like an authority figure or an actual thing that we wear on our head, but it's not so in this particular case, okay? So if you go to your dictionary, you'll notice that there is a definition that may say to be at the top of. In this context, it's identifying the fact that the dome is on top of the Capitol building. So you would simply write the definition. Now, your dictionary may word it a little differently, and that's fine. One dictionary said to cover or form the topmost part of. That's fine, as long as that's how it's used in the context. So you would record that there. Let's do one more example so that you'll be comfortable before you work on your own. Okay, number 3. Dad sanded the cabinet before he painted it. Now, you shouldn't associate this sand with the one on the sea. But basically, we know that when you identify the part of speech, it helps you to find the correct definition when you look up the word. So sanded, we know that is an action. It's an action in the sentence. So you would look up the verb form of that definition. So in this case, it would be to rub. So you could say Dad rubbed the cabinet he painted. He rubbed it with sandpaper. Now notice what I'm doing. I'm actually replacing the word with the correct definition, and the sentence should still make sense. So let's say, for instance, you thought it was a different definition, and you were replacing the definition that you thought was correct in the sentence. If the sentence does not make sense with the definition you've chosen, that's an indication that it's not the correct answer. All right? So So hopefully you'll have fun during this exercise and you'll build your vocabulary skills as well. Okay, enjoy. We're going to move on to the next page, which is page 225. Okay, this is a fun exercise actually, and it's asking you to basically identify or answer the question that's being asked. So let's go ahead and read what it says. It is easy to be an expert when you use your dictionary. See how fast you can find the answers to the following questions and write them in the blank. So you're going to need access to your dictionary. Some of you may have prior knowledge of some of these words. However, we're going to do number 1 together, and then we'll find another random one to do, and then I'll leave you on your own. But remember, the purpose of the activity is not only to get the answers right, which is most important, but to see how fast you can do it. So number 1, is an ice cap something that you wear on your head? All right? Some of you may be thinking, no. Well, what does the dictionary say? We know that, would we find an ice cap in Florida? No. All right? It's basically a mass of ice that's located in cold areas, and the answer for number 1 would simply be no. It's not an actual cap, all right? So you just write the word no. Let's go ahead and skip all the way down to number 7. Okay, number 7 is asking, is a Southwester a person from Texas? And you're thinking to yourself, that makes sense. Well, what's the definition of Southwester? If you think that it's a person, that is not correct in this particular case. When you look the word Southwester up in the dictionary, you will find that it is a storm. A storm is not a person. So again, the answer for number 7 would simply be no. All right? So as I said, just enjoy during this exercise. Learning is so much fun, and language is a gift from God. So enjoy it. Have a great day.